Hello, you're welcome to Gist Arena. All we do is and gist. We discuss topical, trending, and exciting topics, and we have fun while at it. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy each thrilling moment of and gist.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. You're welcome to Gist Arena, and all we do is gist, and paste. So we're going to be, so basically what we do here is to discuss topical issues, things that happen around, things that we come up with, things that we see on our sojourn on social media. Just basically any and everything. There's nothing that is off limits to us to discuss here. So today we're going to be discussing DNA. Some weeks ago, okay, sorry, before I even get there, let me just introduce us that are here. I am Cynthia, and I have Dr. Ayotunde, and then Great Madam's mommy, Adenike. I think the let's go with Amma, I guess. So anyways, yeah, without further ado, let me just get into it so we don't waste time. About a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 weeks or a week thereabout, social media went bonkers because of this DNA issue. There was something that, just briefly, I was just going to the story. So basically, somebody had a man had committed suicide, and the backstory to his suicide was that he had taken care of 2 children who, after 8 years, he got to know that the children were not his, but they were his wife's MD's children that had come about as a result of an affair that they were having. And then social media went bonkers. I guess the getting to know about it led the guy into stroke about 3 years before he finally committed suicide. And so they linked the suicide to depression and then him finding out about the children.
Sorry to cut you short, Cynthia. Sorry about that. It's not suicide. He died. He died of heart attack.
They claim it was depression or heart attack or something of the sort.
Story. Forgive me. All right, yeah. So I mean, the point of the whole thing is the guy actually died, and then it was linked to you. Yes, you are absolutely correct. I remember now. The reason why I'm mixing up is because I'm sure. Yeah, I've read about 2 or 3 stories in the last.
Yes, there's another story. Yes, that was.
Yeah, so most of that story had other stories and everything. So basically, there's this thing about women giving children that are not of their husband to their husband. There was this debate on social media about DNA testing, about its importance, about whether it should be done, whether it should be compulsory, just the parameters. But at least the general consensus was that men were better off asking or performing DNA testing on their children to avoid story that touches later on in the year and all that. I think we also heard about this particular man that he got to know, and then his own story was even different. It's not like he initially married a lady. He was in medical school and was going to become a doctor when his girlfriend at the time fell pregnant. As a result, also to prepare for the girlfriend, he dropped out of medical school, and just from that time upwards, his life took another trajectory. He did not study medicine again. I couldn't do that. Only to learn about 30 or so years later that none of his children were even his. So the discussion today is, what do you think about DNA testing? Should it be done? Should it be a prerequisite? What do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
So right. Dr. Please go ahead.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. I'm Ayatunde. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, I think, well, at this rate, I would say that it would be better if DNA testing is performed, right at birth. Okay, so that all of these DNA palaver and wahala, all of that is settled right from the beginning, because I actually think it's devastating, for someone to find out years later that children that he thought were his, they're actually not his. It can really be devastating. There's a difference between, you knowing already that, oh, this child is not mine, and then you decide, out of your own volition to take care of that child, to take that child as yes. It's different from thinking that you're the biological parent, and suddenly something that you are not. That can be
Sorry,
hard.
I think there's the background interference.
Yes, there's a background interference. I don't know where is that from.
I'm not sure. I'm outside, so I don't know if it's because I'm outside.
Probably
Here
because
on
I can hear, yes, unking. So it's probably from your hand.
Is it getting better?
I think it's from Adeni's
Yes,
side.
it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
Hello?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, it's better,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Okay.
So as I was
But
saying,
outside.
okay. Do you have to be outside? Can you stay inside or something so that we don't have so much interference?
My
Is that right?
connection is poor inside.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
I
Okay.
guess. All right, I think you got it. We'll cut those parts out. Continue.
All right. Yeah. So as I was saying, I just think it's better for everybody's sake, and for everybody's peace of mind. When a child is born, just request for DNA testing, and then be sure that the child you're carrying home or that you're taking home is yours. Because apart from wife being unfaithful to the husband and bringing someone else's child, to the husband, there could also be some mix-ups, here and there in the hospital. So DNA testing I think it should be a norm, right from birth. That's my position.
All right. So, Madenike.
I actually agree. And I've heard of a story of a midwife. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah. Go on.
I think our network
Okay,
is.
in the hospital. I don't know. Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
I don't know if the midwife had some mental issues or whatever, but she was confessed that she had been switching babies. So yeah, I actually think DNA testing should be part of the other tests that are done. Before a baby is released, you check to be sure that the eyes are good, the ears are functioning, doesn't have that thing on the tongue. So we can normalize DNA testing in a way that it doesn't come back to someone saying that, no, I don't trust you. But some people will bring up the issue that, yeah, it's not because men are affected by DNA testing, that's why they are making noise. That there are cases where men have gone and hidden the kids they had with another woman for so long, and the kids only show up after the man is dead. And
but it's not the woman that's taking care of those kids.
of DNA testing that women giving other people's kids to another man has been forever. They will say Ayelaba, Ayedela Masilesi, that Komagbomoba portion is been something that they've been doing since. That in fact, some of the men that are talking, if they go and do DNA testing with their supposed fathers, that their father. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's just say for sure. Let's say truly that his father is not a father. That doesn't invalidate the fact that he doesn't want to raise a child that is not his own. He shouldn't be punished for his mother's sin. But the women typically will bring up the point that when men are saying that they are cheating, that they think they are cheats, that it's just that women don't get caught apart from DNA testing. And some other women are like, men should just calm down because yes, fine, they've been raising kids that are not their own, but what of their own kids that are outside that other people are raising? That they should just leave the matter and let it just be whatever number of children you are in your house, take them, because some of your own children are also elsewhere and someone else is taking care of them. And then you also have another case where ladies will go like, after all, the women that are cheating or that are giving birth to these children, they are not giving birth to children with other women. It's still just leave the matter and not even share. But I still feel like it let people make decisions based on facts, based on truth. Let's do this DNA testing, but let's normalize. And then there's also the point of costs. It's not. It's currently not.
It's quite
expensive though.
It's not means expensive.
Yeah.
What?
It is quite expensive.
So I think
so who's going to bear the charge? You know.
The person that wants to know.
Yeah, I think we need to look at that.
But from what I've heard, even the cost of a DNA testing, it can even be more than the cost of even giving birth in the hospital as a whole.
Wow.
Hey. Yes, so I think that the cost also makes it prohibitive, because what I told people was like, my husband shows up and he says he wants a DNA test, I will not fight him, but he should pay it for it himself. I'm not going to join him. I won't pay. He should pay because he's the one that has the doubts.
I think that where I'm going to, you've said almost everything that is to be said regarding it. I just want to say that because we are now thinking of cost now, and then we know that it's very expensive. So I'm not saying that DNA testing should not be done, but I think it should be done in situations where you're not very sure. Because we cannot deny the fact that when somebody is ordering for a DNA test, there's that uncertainty. In most cases, there is that uncertainty that is lurking around. Maybe it's most likely from the guy saying that he's not sure if this child is this or what. That means he's saying that maybe his wife has been cheating on him. So there's that uncertainty. So in a situation where there is no uncertainty, there might be no reason for DNA testing. Now that doesn't, of course, rule out the instances of hospitals swapping babies and whatever. But that's not really the reason why DNA testing went viral online. It was basically to address the fact that some women have found it normal to cheat on their spouses and then give the children to the husband, knowing fully well that maybe they won't suspect foul play or anything like that, or anything of that nature. So I would specifically speak on the cost. In the situation where we've decided that, okay, fine, it should be done maybe at the hospital at the point of birth, and even at the strategic point. Because if the person that wants to swap a child if one that wants to give a child, maybe the lady wants to give a child that is not the guy's own to the guy, if she knows that there's going to be a DNA test at the hospital, she can connive with the hospital staff to wait on the has been done to actually swap or do whatever. So I believe that if we're thinking of maybe it should be done at a point in life. So maybe one at death, maybe one at maybe one not when we do like vaccine, but it's always done. But then it still begs the question of cost. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So.
And then are you outside again?
Ow. My connection is poor. I'm getting poor connection. I don't know why.
All right. So I think we've adequately discussed on this issue, and we should be bringing it up to a close, as we don't want it to, go further. I think the long and short, based on what we've all said, is that we are all in support of DNA testing. From Adenike's point of view, where is the husband that is specifically requesting for it? He should go and cough out the money and pay for it. I agree with that. Exactly. When we're talking about DNA from birth and from the hospital, I don't know who is going to pay the cost of that. I don't know.
No, wait.
No, I would expect that. I would expect that it should be built into your cost of giving birth and all. Just like to take the BCG and all of that.
the cost of DNA testing can even be more than the cost of giving as a whole on the total.
So wait. Can it now be that because you discuss issues, right? So I don't even know how you're going to address that issue to say, sweetheart, when this child comes, we're going to have to do DNA. I really don't, because it can be messy, when you request for something that
why you want to sugarcoat it.
that's
what you're saying.
You
no
said
matter
what?
you want for someone like me, no matter how you want to sugarcoat it, I mean, you're saying that there's a possibility that I said that
the person that your partner is not faithful. It's a little dicey. So I really don't even know how, because I was going to say that, well, if they both agree that it should be done.
Maybe they should go to war. Maybe they should go to war room and pray that the first they will not be cheated on.
Well, it's a dicey situation, because honestly, I mean, if I know that I don't know. So because I want to try and see that you are not doubtful. So I'll say, okay, let's do a DNA test. When I know that I'm faithful to you.
Yeah.
My lady, I don't know, Sha.
I think I way to handle it, really. If I was, for example, maybe if a couple came to me and the man is like, I think I don't know, I want to do a DNA test.
Yeah.
What I could do was that I probably would tell the wife. I will tell the wife the story of the midwife that has been switching babies and all of that. That let's just confirm that this child is your own. How sure are you that they didn't switch your baby?
Why does the husband want it? I mean, there has to be a reason for it. You just come and tell me you want to
double-minded. That's what you're doing.
What?
If the man has a reason, so if the man has a reason to doubt, doubt is a natural part of human life. Who knows? For example, there's a couple I know.
What brought about the doubt? That is what I am saying. You can't just say, I want a DNA test, and why? So if I ask why, you should be able to tell me, what your doubt is premised on.
See, if I'm going logic, if you are saying that baby swap, I would rather you stick with the baby at the hospital. Follow the baby. As soon as I push, or as soon as the baby comes out, baby, follow that baby. That is cheaper than paying for a DNA test. It's cheaper. At the end of it,
So let me tell you this. There's a couple I know. The guy showed up, and he just one day came and he that he wants DNA test for his 2 kids. That he doesn't trust the wife and her former boss. That he thinks that they've been playing a way match. It was a lot of wahala. It gave her a lot of trouble. So the lady did not even fight him, nothing. She said, okay, fine. The day he was ready, she dressed the kids up. They went to the DNA testing center. When they gave the guy the bill, the guy by himself just said, no, let's go home.
But some people can pay. Some people have made their findings, and they know the amount. So it's not like when they get there, they're going to experience the same thing. It still doesn't. It's
a new concept. I will say it out. Stepping out on me. And let's throw that in the open.
It's actually a true life story.
My issue is, why are you coming to ask for a DNA test in the first place? That is the issue I am addressing here right now.
In his own case, he wanted to humiliate her. Really, wasn't any other reason, because the kids look like
for me. So the humiliation
her
for me.
From him. But she took the power from him because she didn't even argue. She didn't fight him. Nothing. She didn't make it afterwards.
Fight. See, I am the fight. Let's fight it out. How can you? I mean, what did you see that you're accusing me of? What are you saying? Tell me. Let everybody know.
That is the point.
It's not hush again. Let us trash it. Have I truly been stepping out on you? Are your concerns valid? His concern may be as well valid. Maybe I'm keeping late nights. Maybe I'm not telling them where I'm going. Maybe I'm doing some things, you get, that can be causing. So these are deeply rooted issues. Now, I'm not saying go
know that doubt. I want to know why you have that doubt. That's important. I need to find out.
So for me, for a man to get to the point where he feels like he wants the DNA test, I think the best thing to do is to grant him that test. Let him do the test. Then afterwards, make your decision. If he finds out that it's your
of course. We will do that. Why not? I'll do the test. If I won't do the test, of course I will do the test.
Personally, I will give my before the test. And I will tell him that this is what I think. If you give me your reasons, let's just trash the reason before the test. After trashing it, if I now agree with you, we'll go and do it. And I'll make my if I tell you that I'm not cheating on you, the reasons you've given me that maybe I might be cheating on you, they are wrong. If you say I'm keeping late night, I will try and justify myself. After, I'll tell you that if you go into this test and children are yours, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I will go into the test and if the children are yours, I'm leaving. Do you get? I cannot just. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Leave afterwards. I don't mind. But for me, speaking personally, my husband does come and he says that he wants the test. We are going to do that test. We will do the test. Then after the test, maybe we'll go for counseling afterwards. But we will do that test. Even if he comes back and says he doesn't want it again, we will still do it. For him to come and ask us, we will do the test.
Of course,
we cannot discuss
afterwards. That she should do the test.
For me,
the wife is not supposed to say no. I don't want to do the test. But I'm actually focusing on this because you've mentioned before that what's the issue with women who feel bad when their husbands ask for a DNA test. So that's why I'm focusing on this issue. Like, what will not be the issue with them, to think that, for you to come and ask me for a DNA test, it simply, it's telling me that you don't trust me. Most times, that is it. It's not even about maybe, except probably, the man has seen some signs in the baby or some features and he feels like, oh, this doesn't, look like our child. This child does not have any common feature, with us. And if he's able to say that, even if he's lying anyway, we don't even know because anybody can say whatever. But at least, the idea that you don't trust me, you have doubts that my children, are yours. When I know that I've been faithful and all of that, of course I'll do the test. But then, whatever comes out of it, you should accept it too. That's my own.
Anyway, for me, I think if the man comes and he asks for a test, I would recommend that any woman should let him do that test. Then you do whatever you want to do afterwards. That's your call.
Yeah, I should do the test. But my point is, you made it sound then like, what's the big deal? If a man comes to say, I want a DNA test.
I honestly don't take it as personal as I think many women are taking it, because honestly, I for a man to come and say that he wants to do the test, there's a reason. He already has that doubt. So for me, my key point
it's the reason they are talking about now. Like, it feels I'm talking, on behalf of the women now, that when somebody comes to you with that kind of thing, it's just the same way husbands sometimes, faithful men will probably feel bad when their wife accuses them, of something. They will feel bad about it. They will feel bad that how can you say this? How can you even think this about me? So that's my point. So if the wife puts up some kind of opposition, or the wife gets and maybe frustrated or annoyed or something, I think it is valid. That's my point. Not that she should.
So for me, I think the reason why I won't like maybe say, oh, I'm going to get a divorce or get very, very angry is that I've seen cases where women that you could have vowed and said that this woman can do nothing turn out to be giving other people's kids. So for me, I won't be as offended as I'm hearing people getting offended, because for me, I have this it happen. It can happen. What if eventually I find out? And another reason why
It's
I don't know the
okay.
reason why maybe I'm a bit interested in this is that I'm writing a book, and one of the characters in my book has this case of DNA testing gone bad, in the sense that the baby was switched at birth. None of them knew, in my own book anyway. So for me, I'm like, there are so many things that could lead to that doubt. So I don't think I will be so angry
Just
that
tell
I'll
me,
say,
hey, you're saying the same thing. Let me know your doubt. Why you have that doubt? Eh?
hello?
If you can justify your doubts, maybe.
Hello?
Baby at bed, then the child is not even it's not
Okay, we
your
can
own.
hear.
That's a different that if it is a matter of switching of baby at bed, that means that the child is not even my own. The child is not your own. That's a
Yeah,
different game.
exactly.
That
Mhm.
child is for the wife and not for the husband.
Look, so, but you don't know either, because for you, as far as you're concerned, the child is your child. And then now comes
You are
ask
missing
for
the point. You are missing the point. If the doubt is that they may have switched baby at birth, that is different. If your doubt is that baby is yours, that's different.
the guy just knows that this child is not his. He doesn't know whether the child is your own or not. His own is that this child is not mine. I don't even want to tell you the whole story. I want you to read the book, so I won't tell you the full story.
Can you wake up one
The
morning and
guy
say,
thinks he just is like, this child is not mine.
It's
no,
okay now. No,
wait. How can you wake up one morning and tell me that the child is not yours?
If you are
and you're
okay,
not
you
telling
want me
me
to
why
tell
you think so.
you?
And you're not telling me why you
The
think
guy
so. You just think so.
needed to prove paternity because he needed to travel. So he got the test results, and the test results told him that the child was not his. So he doesn't even want to know whether the child is for the woman or not. He has just found out that he failed the DNA test.
Can I say this? If they do a paternity test and the child is not his, and me, I know I did not put on him, the next thing is to go and do a full-blown DNA test.
To do a paternity test, exactly.
That's my point.
I don't want to.
The
point is that for the, like that, before she begins, I felt the first point for her is that I know I didn't cheat on this man. So she will first of all be wondering that what's going on. And of course, most people would not want to waste time to find out the rest of it. The guy,
that is a different scenario. That is a different scenario altogether. He had to do the test. Okay, it's different from somebody walking up to you and saying, "Look, I want a test for no reason, for no just reason." That's what I'm saying. You have to at least tell me why.
That I'm attacking, because nobody just wakes up for no just reason. The reason may not make sense to you, but it's not
the reason.
So what is the reason? What is the reason? That is what we are talking about. You are saying it as if you just want to say it, you should just take it in stride. No, what is the reason? Why?
It's not give me water. It's not give me water. It's a whole test. No, it's not give me water.
Okay, let's go back to the example we said where the kid was like, oh, just for fun, let's run what they call a lineage test. That test, I think there was something Dr. Yesterday was telling us about some people that just decided that let's just test.
Ancestry. To get ancestry test. That's what they're trying to do. That's a different thing.
Test. So that's people different. It's different now.
Let me tell the story. They were
for fun. Different because it was not even the man. It was the girl. She said that dad doesn't know anyone, on his mom side or something like that. So she wanted to just get that stuff.
Grandfather and the granddaughter. The grandfather and the granddaughter went ahead to do a test. They're trying to get, just so they were expecting that it should be similar because they had the same bloodline and all of that. But it was very different. And so it clearly showed that they were not even related. And they were surprised on how they were not related.
The daughter wanted to know if she wanted the dad to find out people from his mom's side. According to the story, that was why she went ahead to do that ancestry thing.
So that's the reason why the guy also wants to do his DNA test. He wants to match the child with the woman that.
You should tell me because he's coming to meet me to ask for DNA test. So you should tell me his reason That is what I'm saying. Why? What is the reason? Don't just come and say I want it. Then you just take it straight like that. Why? What is the reason?
The reason may not make sense to you.
You should say, tell me the reason first. Whether it makes sense.
No.
Judge of
To
that.
make sense. He has to. It has to make sense.
What will make sense to you?
That is my goodness. Let me go into whether it makes sense or not. But cut yes or no, say the reason. No, state it.
So which reason do you accept as a good reason?
When the reason comes, I will decide then.
They switch the baby at best. You can tell me that.
And it says that so if it comes and says that at work, for him to put the child as part of his dependence, he's required to do a DNA test for his kid. Is that acceptable?
That's a plausible reason.
Sorry?
That is a plausible, that's a good reason.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So if he says that for travel purposes, for relocation purposes, he wants to do the DNA test that he needs to prove it.
That makes sense as well.
Makes sense. That's what we are saying. State your reason. Isn't that difficult?
His sister thinks that the kid is not his own, or his sister had a dream.
Why? When dream? Who has a
dream? His sister stupid. What does he think about what his sister thinks? No. What does he think about what his sister thinks? Does he think that child is not his own? At what point does he think
he doesn't want to personal decision?
Oh my God.
He's not well. His sister has said what she has to say. Him gone, what does he think? That is where underlying issues come about. Your sister has said A. Do you believe A? Do you get me? Wow. Your sister has said A. You should believe A. If he then says, Cynthia, I don't think this child is mine. I think you may have cheated on me. Now look him and say, me, you are accusing me of cheating.
So if he says that he doesn't know, based on Cynthia, he knows that Cynthia that he met would not cheat on him. However, the sister had a dream, and apart from that dream, he also said that Cynthia.
The dream is the sister there. What is that? What's to be dream? Is the sister Josephina?
You need to own the reason why you are doing a DNA test. Own it. If your sister says that I had a dream, so do you believe a dream? That means you think I cheated on you. Hey, now we are talking. So you think I am a cheat?
Well, I understand, Majenike. I understand where she's coming from. There could be an array of reasons why a man, would want a DNA test, and that's understandable. That's okay. But Biko, just tell me why you want it, and then let me decide whether that reason makes sense or not. So
if you tell me that he had a dream that this child is not his,
who has a dream?
That he would like to do a DNA test, is that acceptable?
What dream? Which dream was she winning? Why is he not having better dreams?
He's having a dream, and so I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him. So you believe your dream? That means you believe that I cheated on you, or I'm cheating on you.
It's Joseph. His middle name is Joseph.
I believe I'm cheating on him, and me, I will tell you, I'm not cheating on you. If you then think that, if you go for this thing, don't be smart, man. What if in your dream now, you had a dream that I slit your throat, and you say I believe your dream? You should be divorcing me now, because I can curse your mother. I can twist you.
It would just stop. It would stop acting. It will stop relating with you. It will start acting suspicious around you. Checking you out to see if it doesn't make sense at the end of the day.
Nice. Here is the thing. I'm not antagonizing his reasons. What I'm saying is, whatever reasons he has, best believe that we're going to have to try. We're going to have to discuss that issue. You cannot just come and say, Cynthia, I had a dream, and then I'm supposed to say, okay, no problem, let's go and do the test. It doesn't work like that. I still going to discuss it.
If it happened that, let's say you told him that you were going for a trip, let's say you were supposed to be going for a trip in Abuja, and for whatever reason you found out maybe you didn't go for the trip again, and you were in Lagos, and you managed to see you with your boss in Lagos coming out of the hotel because you didn't have the chance to get to him, and he begins to get suspicious, and it's like, I think these people are dating. And at some point, for a DNA test, because maybe he has been accusing you of infidelity for a while, for example, and at some point,
well, you opened the door of doubt. That regard, you said you were going to Abuja. You didn't go. You didn't tell your husband that you're not going anymore, and then you stayed in Lagos. And of course, you already opened the door of doubt now. So yeah.
That concept.
Let's say your phone was not good, you weren't able to connect or something, maybe network.
And you didn't tell him. You didn't tell him when you came back. You didn't tell him. You didn't tell him. He found out.
No, so
but you didn't open your mouth to tell him that.
Example. Okay, no, let me even give you a real life example. When I traveled, when I went to the US, I went with my colleague, and when I went with my colleague, we kind of shared, not the same room, but we're in the same hotel. We got a car together, so I was always with my colleague when I went for the conference, because I didn't want to get missing, because I didn't know anywhere, and he was the one that knew. So I was kind of glued to him. I was glued to him. I went for the conference, and when we came back, the only saving grace for me was that my husband was aware of all that I planned to do. I told him how things were going. I called him like every day. But let's say I wasn't even able to reach him. This is the story. When I got back, one of my church members that did not meet me when he saw me at the conference in the US, he now saw me in church with my husband, and he was not like, hey, that guy that you was it your husband you traveled with? And my husband was looking at him like,
does he not know your husband? Is he blind?
See,
sorry.
We are
somebody that said the person you traveled with is your husband. Is he blind? Does he not know your husband? Does he know your husband before I accuse him?
He's blind. He's literally blind, honestly.
For you to say and a darling, because I was like with my husband.
You're moving into deeper issues.
That's because he's present.
But wait.
Would have gone behind me to speak with my
husband. Hold on. When did you return? You returned on what day?
Time matters. I agree.
Wait now. When did you return? What day of the week?
Sorry?
Hello? What day of the week did you return from US then? What day of the week?
I think I came back on a Saturday or Sunday or so.
Okay, so when did you go to church? How many days after?
It was like a month or so after I came back. I think the guy saw me in the US. He didn't greet me because I didn't see him in the US.
Wait, where I'm going?
I didn't even see him.
Hold on, sorry. Where I'm going is this: even if he decided to do alabosi and all of that, I think that if your husband had to, hear from him, let's say you weren't able to, call your husband all through the time that you were in the US and everything, and then you now saw this man, and this man now opened his mouth, to say all of those things, and then your husband is kind of like taken aback or hearing it for the first time. I will still put the blame on you because you have a whole lot of 1 month. So I mean, you came back. Why didn't you just fill him in, tell him so that he doesn't hear stupid stuff from people outside?
Wait, let me just say, that person that said that thing, the person is not right, because what kind of stupid question is that? When you can see that your husband is beside you, you are still asking me, was it at my husband? Does that person resemble the person you saw then? And what are we talking?
You needed this glasses. But what I'm even saying is that if your husband, just got to hear about that from the man, it's the door of doubt is still, you open that door of doubt because, I mean, you got back home I mean, if you're close, you're close friends with your husband, I would have expected that you had gisted him. This was what happened. In fact, I was all, with this person all through, blah, 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 blah. So that if he gets to hear something like that from one alabosi somewhere, he's not shocked, to the point that he will now say, okay, I'm starting to suspect you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me finish. It got to, in spite of the fact that while I was there, I called my husband every night. I would just think about everything that happened. But my husband still asked me that, are you sure that you and this other guy were not? So does it for this guy to be asking you if this other guy was your husband? Are you sure people did not do more than what you told me? So there was still a seed of doubt that was sown, in spite of the fact that I did full disclosure, like almost the point of what.
So I'm sorry. So if that was what happened, and then because of that, my husband now decides to wake up one day and say, okay, I think I'm suspecting based on that. When I gave him all the story and everything, and then he decides, to follow or to go with something that someone silly said, and then it's based on that he's asking me for a DNA test. Well, what is the meaning of that? No. I don't agree with that one, Biko. But anyway,
in my opinion, I think in such a that woman should let the man do that DNA test, because the DNA test is like it will shut his mouth forever. And then after
you can't say that to do
and his mouth will shut more than even forever.
She has a right to be angry.
So for me, in such a scenario, so for example, if someone had said that, oh, they saw me somewhere, they've accused me, for me, I would think that DNA test is going to be something to vindicate me. So I would do it. I cannot promise that I'm going to leave my husband afterwards, except it was a whack person to start with. I would not, on the basis of justice, request for the DNA as a cause that marriage to be dissolved. Honestly, that's me speaking honestly.
No. The marriage being dissolved is like a far cry. For me, it would depend on all kinds of factors. So that's not the point. The point is not that you go and dissolve marriage or something like that. That's not the point for me. The point is if a man comes to a woman to ask for a DNA test based on the fact that he's having some doubts, unfounded doubt that suggests that she's cheating on him, and she reacts. I think a reaction is valid. That is my point. My point is a reaction is valid. Whatever happens afterwards, whatever becomes bad day, that one is not my business. My business is that a reaction is valid. Simple.
I'll concede that. But I think that such women should also consider that their reactions and make sure that they don't overreact.
They can overreact. That's my point. They can. She has every right to overreact. Especially if she doesn't have anything to hide. You don't get.
So for me, I
don't need to hide.
She cannot leave this water today.
Statistically, it's just like, for example, the women that accuse their husbands of infidelity when the man is not cheating, we would expect the man to react, but we also expect him to understand where he's coming from.
The man can overreact as well, except he understands where she's coming from. And where he cannot understand where she's coming from, they will try and sort it out. They cannot sort it out, fine. But we cannot say you should not overreact or you should consider something. But it's fine that you're a very easygoing person. That's very good. That's very nice.
Exactly.
So for me, I don't think I would because of that, honestly.
Yeah, I understand. It's understandable. I think at the end of the day, we would all have our different reactions and stuff. So it's okay. It's good.
Almost spent 50 minutes already. So I think we've actually thank you so much for
Thank you very
staying and
much.
listening to us. Thank,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. See you next time, basically. See you next time. Bye.
See you next time.
See you next.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Gist Arena. We hope you enjoyed the topic discussed. Please drop your comments and let us know what you think about it. We'll definitely love to hear from you. Until next time, bye!